Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Unlimited Wisdom, Daily Wisdom. This one here is going to be very, very, very special because it's going to be why Unlimited Wisdom. I'm going to share exactly where the idea, the thought, everything, and also the vision of what Unlimited Wisdom is. So, thank you very much for Michael and Angela coming in here. Hi, Melody. Hi, Matt. Of course, I always think of Hannah and Ezra when I see Matthew, my awesome son. Hi, Shelley. Is it Nicolette? I hope I did that right. Lisa, Mary, Michael, and Angela, if I said that. Dustin, Coach Bob, Deborah Grady, my beautiful wife, Terry, and CJ, the hostess with the mostest. So, again, so we can edit it where we need to edit it. I'll just say, hi, Scott. Thanks for coming on. Is Here is the vision and why Unlimited Wisdom. Okay. My first elevator pitch, just being straightforward, is I know a lot of people in the world want more in their lives. They just want more. Now, in all the years that I've been helping people, when I ask people what they want, they usually don't know what they want. And if they don't know what they want, then it's impossible for them to get it. Does that make sense? So when I always reach out to people, I go, what do you want more of in your life? Do you want more love? Do you want more happiness? Do you want more joy? Do you want more money? Do you want more freedom? Do you want better health, to be healthier? What do you really, really want? And so, in launching Unlimited Wisdom, let me tell you where that idea came from. Before I do, all the stuff that I just mentioned, in 37 years of doing this, I know that I can show you how to do it. There's a lot of people that always feel like, what's the missing link? I'm missing something. What's the key to success? What's the secret? There's been hundreds, if not billions of dollars made in the world by saying, hey, I have the secret. I have the missing key. I know what you're looking for. And the reason that a lot of people don't know what they're looking for is, again, they're lacking imagination. Bottom line, Albert Einstein said it best, that imagination is way better than information. Because what people do is people keep seeking and looking for information. They're looking for the how to's. How do I do this? How do I do that? I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that. But when they find that, a book, a coach, a mentor, a program, whatever, as soon as they buy it, they find themselves not going through it, not absorbing it, and not executing on it. So if you've ever thought in your mind, it's sort of like a piece of workout equipment, right? We want to be in better shape. So then what we do is we buy a Stairmaster, right? Or a Bowflex, and then we don't use it. Well, we do. It usually hang clothes on it. You know what I mean? And then we sort of beat ourselves up. So thank you, Faith and Lisa Marie and Deborah Bronner for jumping on here as well. So that is the key. So what I want to share with you is where this idea came from. Very, very, very short. For those of you, I grew up in a very small town. I had an influence of what I believed, and it was the smartest and the wealthiest uncle I had. And he looked at me and he said, Robert, listen, go to a trade school. If you go to a trade school, you're good with your hands, you can be a good mechanic, and because you have this piece of paper on the wall, people will pay you a lot of money. And I believed him. I don't know why he would have lied to me. And he was right. So when I graduated from trade school, North Dakota State School of Science, I had, these things that said that I was a master automotive technician. And that was the path that I had. So during that path, of course, I met my lovely wife, Terry. But one of the things about it, as her as my girlfriend, I couldn't have been, in my opinion, the worst person for her. All right. A lot of bad things happened in my life. I just didn't know how to treat somebody that loved me unconditionally. My whole thought's that if I allow her to come into my heart, then she's going to abandon me just like everybody else. Right? So I wasn't a good person. And so what ended up happening is I got hurt on the job, and I had a guy basically tell me, listen, you're not going to be a mechanic anymore. But that's the only identity that I had. I was proud of it. I was good at it. And so now I can't be a mechanic. So what am I going to be? And all I did, and I tell people to do this, is I simply asked for help. I got on one knee. I asked for help. And a few days later, I get a call from a person that I only met a few times. His name was Sean Hennigan. Hi, Jim. Thanks for jumping on. I'm always going to give him, kudos. He's written in the two books that I have. And Sean told me this one story. He just said, I met a guy, and he showed me his monthly check. It was $62,000. And he's looking for people that he can train to make six figures in their first year. Well, I about ran him over. I said, I want to meet this guy. And the only thing that I'll share from this point forward with that is all this guy had was more information than I had. Are you guys hearing me? He had more wisdom than I had. And he told me that he got that wisdom from a person that had more wisdom. And he said, if you read The Greatest Miracle in the World by Og Mandino, if you really understand The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, and you guys, I didn't know any of this stuff. So when you meet somebody, the thing I would love to be for everyone is I would love to be one of your best friends. I would just like to be, after 37 years, I would like to just be one of your best friends. And when I hung around this guy, he gave me wisdom. Now, was I hungry? Did I read the books? Did I go to the stuff? Did I apply the stuff? I did. But he asked me, which is part of what I want to share you, is he very simply said, Robert, if I endorse this check, endorse it over to you. Some of you probably don't even know what that word is. But back in the day, you could actually take your check and endorse it to somebody else and give it to them. Follow? And so he said, if I endorse this check and give you this check, what would you do? And of course, it's the same obvious things that lead us nowhere to happiness. It's like, I'd like to pay up the back payments, on my apartment. I got a pawn loan on my car. I'd like to, pay that off. I'd like to get caught up on some of my bills. And then after all that, he goes, what would you like to do? And during that hardship in my life, I basically told this incredible woman that she didn't deserve me, that I needed to be on my own. And she went back to Montana.
See ya.
And all I could think about out that time is, if I had a second chance, I would love to go back. I'd love to tell her I'm sorry. And I want, hopefully she would marry me. And then I could turn my life around. And that was the goal that I had. And I put my head down and I applied myself, and I was able to get back out to Montana, ask her to marry me, and she said yes. But here's the thing that I want to share with you guys is now that I was working with him and going through all his wisdom and the wisdom from other people, can you imagine that he got me to imagine a better future for myself? That's all he did, is he got me to imagine a better future. And instead of me thinking that I'm not enough and I'm not worthy and she's going to abandon me and all of this stuff, I was willing to throw all those fears and things away. And guess what? So if you had a friend that you could talk to live every day, listen closely. Hi, Sandy, Faith. If you had a friend that had wisdom, that could show you how to be happy, could show you how to build a great relationship, could show you how to build a good connection with yourself. And that turned into figuring out how to serve and bring value to other people. And then all of a sudden you're making income where you don't have to work for somebody else. Are you guys following me? It puts you in a position where you made more money than you needed, because my friends and mentors very simply said this to me. They said, what's the definition of a budget? And I was going, yeah. And the definition is, like Terry said, annoying. The definition of a budget is to earn more than you can spend. Earn more than you could spend. That's the goal. Not to figure out what you need to cut out because of the money that you got coming in is not enough. Are you guys understanding this? So I would like to be your friend. So what unlimited wisdom is you can come into unlimited wisdom, but I'm not going to be your only friend. See some of the people that are on here? Everybody wave. Some of them have been my friends and very, very dear and close friends for years. And so this is part of the community that we created in the last year. And now we're launching Unlimited Wisdom on a new platform, thanks to my son, Matthew. And so now what I want you guys to understand is because what is a friend? I was thinking about this morning, a friend, because I have like, what is it? I have like 200,000 Facebook friends. I think that every one of us could write down, and you'll see this if you decide to follow us. It's very simple. Life is very, very, very simple. Very simple. The first thing you want to do is write down what would be the ideal friend. Terry's had a friend named Jolie, since first grade. And some of the things that you would say probably about a friend is they seem like they're always there. They're always available. I don't know how many other things that you can plug into where someone that's been blessed to have the wisdom that I have, but unlimited wisdom comes from a phrase where two or more together, there's an extra mind in the ether, right? That's from Science to Getting Rich, but that's also from Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, on and on and on. But I need you guys to understand that unlimited wisdom is just not like personal development, because personal development is usually them pitching something and then giving it to you, and then you got to do it on your own. Does that make sense? Unlimited wisdom is a group of individuals that are there to encourage you, there to talk to you live. Once a week, we do an Ask Us Anything instead of Ask Me Anything. But that means that you can ask anyone that's a part of this community based on who they are and what they know. There's a lot of the women that are here that have a separate circle that they have, because there might be a lot of issues I don't understand when it comes to being a woman. So sometimes it's better to talk to a woman. Does that make sense? And so it's very, very unique that unlimited wisdom is really, really designed to be someone there that is loyal, that's there, available. Like I said, we go live every day. I think a good friend is encouraging. I seen a funny post today, and it's not funny. I don't know why people say this funny and then it's not funny. But Craig sent me this video on Steve Harvey. And he said the worst thing that you could do is have an imagination of your future and then immediately share it with people that tried to steal it away. My friend, mentor, right away told me, listen, when you share your excitement and your enthusiasm and thesos, it's like you're excited, you're dreaming, and then you share it with people and they go, that's stupid. That'll never work. You're not smart enough. You're not good looking enough. Your voice is stupid. What would we hear the other day that a person had a perfect face for radio? I've never heard that before.
Oh, yes, I've heard that many, many times.
But getting back to the point, if you could design a real true friend that every time you connected with them, they made you feel better than when they weren't around. That you always had this little, light inside them, this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And if you could learn from other people all the stuff out there, because there's stuff on relationships, there's stuff on health, you know what I mean? There's all different areas. Personal development, I think, is more around how we treat ourselves. If, my mentor, knew right away if I didn't read this book and apply the stuff in it, that I wouldn't be able to move forward. And, now that I'm 64, I'm now starting to look back at my life, and guess what? Money is awesome, man. How many people have heard that money doesn't buy happiness? That's just from
Why?
so I can just tell people this. The only way that you can say money buys happiness or not is if you have a personal experience. Don't listen to other people tell you that. Get into a position, and I tell people, if you got into a position where you're making more than you could spend, including giving away, and it made you unhappy, couldn't you just give all the money away? It's like, so, but isn't it weird that someone told us that money isn't important, when really we know that money is right next to oxygen, right? And so understand, in unlimited wisdom, my goal is not to teach you how to make money. My goal is to help you find who you are, to discover your gifts. And when you love yourself and you start sharing what your gift is, you'll attract the right resources and people to you. I know some people in the world that, they hardly make any money, and they got an incredible life, and it's awesome. Terry and I watched this, movie called Dark Wind. They live in Navajo desert. They're native Indians, and it's like you go, wow. My thought is not a single wide on a bunch of pallets sitting in the desert. But I know some people are extremely happy that way. Thank you, Shelley. And so, again, going back, I want you to think of things that could be, and for those of you that have the chat, but I just wrote on here, a belonging. There was some things that I learned. I grew up in some foster homes when I was young, and there was always this concept of belonging, not feeling alone. What if someone could teach you that you didn't have to feel alone anymore? Because this is one of the statements that they say in every success book. And if you don't believe it, we'll help you believe the things that you should believe. Some people believe that the 5 closest friends you spend the most times with and the environment that you grow up in doesn't alter and change who you are. When I first heard that, and they said you become who you hang around, you become who you spend the most time with. When I finally clicked on that, I was going, no wonder my life sucks. Right? Because the 5 people that I was spending time with were not bad people. They were just good survivors. You know what I mean? How many people know what I'm talking about? It's like, that's why they write songs, living for the weekend. It's like everybody can't wait to punch out on the clock, and there you got your weekend. And what did you do on the weekends? You did things that cost no money. And so, it wasn't like, hey, let's go skiing, in Aspen or something, or let's go to another country. It's like, what? It's like not that. So a lot of people don't understand this one concept, which is very powerful, is just having peace of mind. To actually be in a situation where things are getting a little crazy, but you can be peaceful through it, knowing that everything's going to be okay and you don't have to worry. How many of you guys know people that worry? And someone pulls out a fact out of their, mind, I was going to say rear end. And it's like people always put a percentage of the things that you worry about, don't really come true. But I don't know why people need to put a percentage on it, because no one really knows. It's like the other thing all the time. Good place for me to put this part in. There's a phrase that everyone's followed me with, is if you knew what you knew for sure and it wasn't true, when would you like to know? I've shortened it down to even, how do you know that? But there's a lot of people that look at themselves and they don't realize that one time they believed in the tooth fairy, they believed in Santa Claus, they believed in a lot of stuff like, hey, if you get a great education, you'll never have to worry about money. Wow, we're in 2026. How many people believe now that if you get a degree, you're okay? It's like crazy. But you start realizing that if you can break down these things that you believe that are not true, then that allows you to be in a pretty good position when you know that you don't know. And now you're open to some other ideas, some other concepts. So a lot of the people that are with me can really, really share with you what they thought or how they thought before they met me. And now the thoughts that they have, and it's so peace is very, then we always talk about people needing to find purpose or passion in their life. Me, I know what that is, but people need to find out that for themselves. Every one of us, when we get to the place where we're free, we have peace of mind, every day is really, really awesome, then now where do we go? And that comes through contribution. That comes through the way to greatness is the service of many. And so that was the idea behind Unlimited Wisdom. See, when Unlimited Wisdom first came to me, I met these people that taught me this stuff, that, gave me the courage and belief to ask Carrie to marry me. And then once we got married, then we have Matthew. He's on here. And all of a sudden, the people that I was learning from, they sort of turned a different direction. They were working with a company and then they started their own. And it just wasn't a fit for me anymore. So then after Matt was born, you know what I mean? It was later that year in 92 where I'm going like, what am I going to do? Well, what if you figured out how to be happy, how to be excited, how to imagine, how to create and help other people get the same thing, and you also made a lot of money, traveled the world, had a lot of fun. So when I left those people, that group of people, I went up to Mystic Mountain, which is about 2 hours drive. It takes 3.5 hours to hike up to this mountain this Mystic Lake between mountain peaks. I sent Deborah Grady the picture today, but if you just put, Mystic Lake in Montana, and I just heard from a guy, instead of throughout your entire year, instead of constantly praying for direction and asking for guidance, why not just pray in the new year? And so now I don't know where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do, but why couldn't I take all this information that I learned, that I helped other people get the same lifestyle, and call it something and teach that to the rest of the world? Take the wisdom that was given to me and share it with the rest of the world. And while I was up there praying, the word Unlimited Wisdom came to me. I came home, I went online, put in unlimitedwisdom.com, and it was available. Now, for those of you that like beating yourself up, so this idea was given to me like probably November, December of 1992. And I really didn't launch it until a year ago. So some of you, you don't have to beat yourself up. If I can help you find that gift you have and that idea you have and that imagination, it's not too late. It's never, never, never too late. And so that's why you see unlimited wisdom with what it is today, right? So that is the deal. So, some of you need confidence, some of you need more friendships, some of you need more joy in your life. How many people do you know need just a little more happiness and joy in their life? You know what I mean? You know what that usually is around? It usually happens when you're around few people that just are little more outgoing than you. You can't show up and you got somebody and you're going, no, 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 I don't dance. I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't do karaoke. I don't do anything fun. But you can get around people that are that way and they sort of can pull that out of you a little bit. Does that make sense? uh, for those of you that might not like to drive fast or be super excited in a car, if you drive with Terry, she can show you. She can share with you really quickly that if you drive around and it's not an exciting trip for you, driving with my wife can make it exciting for you. It can Great. Okay. So again, financial wisdom is again not making a lot of money. It's just really freedom. Everyone says, I want to make money, I want to make money, I want to make money. But it really is all about freedom. Wouldn't you agree? It's like, how many of you just would like to be in a place where you don't owe anything to anybody? You know what I mean? So a lot of people go, well, I don't know if I'll ever become debt free. And maybe that's not your goal. But then part of financial freedom is when you start setting your goals based on your giving. See, I learned this from people that were smarter than me. Instead of putting a goal out that I'd like to make $1 million a year, what if the goal was like, I'd like to give $1 million a year? And you took the time to write down the people that would get that money. What if you took one other step and you reached out to them? So say there was this church or something that you liked, and Jim reaches out to the church and says, listen, it was just on my heart to ask you right now, what are you looking for money about? And they're, well, right now we're building a new park for the kids. Well, how much is the park and all the equipment and everything going to cost? We need about $150,000. And for you to be bold enough to say, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but count me in. Because you might not have money yourself, but then if all of a sudden you put together some kind of fundraiser and you just went out to businesses that didn't even know that the kids needed that, and you're the spokesperson with passion, and then you raised $150,000 for the park for the kids. Do you think that would change who you were and how you look at things? Because a lot of people always think, well, I'm broke. What if it's not about you? That's part of unlimited wisdom. It's like when you start doing things for other people, it's like it seems so much easier. So now, healthy relationships with everyone you should have a relationship with. Again, I started out the elevator thing at the beginning is just the concept of more, right? Would you like better relationships with your siblings or your children or your grandkids or your parents if they're still alive? Would you like to have friends? Real friends, right? And then I got down here, practical wisdom, of course, personal development. It's very unique to, people always ask what I think they need first. And again, someone threw percentages on this, but these are people that don't know, right? But I've always heard from everyone that I know that there's a certain percentage of your brain that you use. Do you think that anybody in the world really knows that? I've always said people go, you only use 10% of your brain. And I go, no, I think that you use all of your brain, just not enough. I just don't think there's a quarter spot, the size of a ping pong ball, and that's the only part that you're using. Now, I think you're using it all. I just think that it's an incredible gift in a machine through imagination. And I think that you could do a lot more with your brain and your mind and your consciousness, your subconscious, if you're just aware of what that is. Does that make sense to everyone? So, when we're young, we're a kid, and, you hear a bunch of screaming and you look out back and the kids are running around and you're like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, we're playing cowboy and Indians. We're a superhero. They got a cape on. They're flying around. And then what we do is we put them in school and school beats them out of them. You know what I mean? So now it's time to be real. It's time to be realistic. It's time to steal all the joy in your imagination away. So learning that kind of stuff is very, very important, because if you can learn to imagine again and you can be a kid again, then when your imagination is out there, because the word faith is just thinking of things that are not as if they are. So a lot of you probably don't realize how successful you already are, because a lot of the things that you love in your life is things that you brought into fruition just from your imagination. Does that make sense to anyone? And the other thing, I talked about better health, making a difference, contribution and giving to others. But all of these things are really wrapped around one word. And that word is hope. There's a lot of people on the planet today that don't have any hope. They believe that, I remember this like quite a few years ago, 34 years ago, or 37 years ago. And I can remember working as a mechanic. I loved what I did. I made good money. I was good at what I did. But I did remember having thoughts, oh my God, someone lied to me. Someone lied to me, because my vehicles weren't new, they were used. Terry and I were still in an apartment or leasing a home. Someone lied to me. Excuse me. Because I went and did what everybody told me to do, but my life was no evidence of what everybody told me it would be. Get educated, go work hard, and everything's there it is. And so, without me realizing it, the passion and the purpose sort of disappearing. And then I started feeling like, wow, you just show up. Yeah, you make money, you pay your bills. I definitely am not going to make any difference in anybody's life. And all of a sudden, my passion started disappearing, because I used to race cars. I used to build cars. Now, all of a sudden, every weekend I was at the racetrack. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, no, I worked on cars all week. I'm not interested in, for fun, working on somebody else's car. You see what I mean? How many of you guys can remember being really excited and passionate about something, but then all of a sudden it wasn't feeding you, so then you start losing your purpose and your passion, right? What a lot of people don't realize that is that's just like you going from elementary school to junior high. It's the universe, or whatever you want to believe, trying to get you to go to the next level. And what you're doing is you're not going to the next level. You're just frickin' hanging out. So if you're not growing, you're dying. So things don't get better. They seem to get stale, neutral. And now we got to challenge ourselves. Because I can remember being the big, athlete, whatever, person in elementary school. And then you go to junior high. And for the city I grew up, all the elementary schools went to the same junior high. And now there was a bunch of people I didn't know and a lot of people I didn't like. And I'm not the big guy on campus anymore. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And then I figured that out in 2 years, and then they made me go to high school and go to a different city, and now it's all over again. Am I relating to anybody, anyone? You know, and then so I kept going to foster homes and other places. So then you go there and you don't know anybody, and now you got to sort of try to prove yourself all over again and try to fit in. So it really, really is all about the concept of hope that right now in the world. I was telling Terry, and this is such, again, please don't make this political. Just listen to it, right? But if someone knows the name of this Asian baseball player, that he's one of the most highest paid athletes in the world. He plays for the Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Shohei Ohtani.
Thank you, Craig. So, yeah. So there was a translator that was telling his story, right? And he says all he remembers from the time he can remember is that he wanted to be a baseball player. He says, I don't know how old I was. I just always wanted to be a baseball player, right? And he said, so he told his dad that he wanted to be a baseball player. And for those of you, please, if you make this political, you should beat yourself up, right? And so his dad sat down with him and he said, well, we need to make plans because the Major League Baseball is only in one country. So for you to be a professional baseball player, we have to go to America. And so there was the goals. So he comes here, becomes one of the highest paid players, won 2 World Series in a row. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden he's telling this story and he goes, not only could this just happen in America, but now I'm meeting the president of the United States. To him, this is a big, big deal. That he's checking off everything that he wanted in his life. And then some people got to find a way to take that dream and make it political. So now some people are mad at him for fulfilling his dream. That's interesting, isn't it? You got to be careful. We already talked about those people. So I just love watching people fulfill their dreams, and they inspire me. But on top of inspiring me, they give me hope. They give me hope. So I hope that was a pretty good deal for why unlimited wisdom. As we open this up, my goal is, there are a lot of people call it mentor, coach, or life coach, or whatever. The number one thing I want to be is your friend. I want to be a servant to mankind. And I want to be able to find wisdom and continue learning this wisdom to pass it on to others to make a huge difference in this world. So I'd like you to jump on with us. And very simply, it's like, it's free. We're going to ask you to do some things to be able to contribute in the audience. Eventually, for those that want are financially not in the right place, you can watch everything that we do on a daily basis recorded. We've already got a year of recordings. We have over 3,300 videos that you can learn from. And then for $9.97 a month, you can participate in it for free. But you also can, for $9.97, come on live and meet us and this entire family and membership live. And then we're going to have another thing called Inner Circle for $49 a month. People can actually interact with everyone. We do inner circles where people can jump on, ask any question, try anything that's holding them back, and we get to take the wisdom of all the members and help you make that come true. So that's what unlimited wisdom is. So I'll give a handout to my son. He's here. He put together the platform. We started it out a year ago on school, even though it started 34 years ago when Matt was probably 9 months old. And now he's got Ezra there that's a little
Yeah, I was
over a
gonna
year old.
say, yeah, he's older than me.
Yeah.
So, right, Ez?
So, of course, this is Happy Grandma.
Yep. Right, Ez? No, I'm super excited for everything. It's awesome. I was adding and changing stuff right here, right now, like as we were going. So like now the calendar stuff is better, and then of course you if you want to respond to someone's comment or something, and I'll just continue to add and
Sure.
build on it. Yeah. So super exciting though, right, Ez?
He can't hear us, can he?
No, he can't.
Yeah. Because I would
Has he?
I would talk to him in my language if he could hear me.
No, yeah. Let me. For some reason, my speakers haven't been working. So, and they're not working.
No problem. So
Yeah,
that's all I
I'll
have.
figure out why.
I do want to do one other quick surprise. Melody, are you able to talk at all?
Let me unmute her. There we
She
go.
can type in there. I don't know if she's been typing.
There, I just sent an ask unmute to Melody.
I'm,
You're almost there,
can you
Melody.
hear
Go ahead.
me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, perfect. Hi.
Hi, Melody. So how long ago did you and I meet?
16 years ago. I think it's 17 years in November. Coming November.
November is always the time when things are happening. So you pretty excited for the new platform? You think it's going to help a lot of people?
I absolutely do. I love it. It's amazing.
I'm excited.
I don't know if
So-
you can hear.
yeah, we can hear you.
Excited.
Just, you're going in and out a little bit. So
I'm at the hospital, so the Wi-Fi is not great. I can hear all your words, though.
good. So yeah, we're gonna let everyone go. I just wanted to say hi to Melody, and if we caught her in a good place, she could go off on you guys. But we'll get everyone to say what they're doing. So I thank you for coming on to the new challenge. We're gonna make sure to post this. For those all of you that are getting this, make sure to go to unlimitedwisdom.com and sign up for free, and we'll work our way forward. So again, thank you, Nicolette. Thank you, Lisa Marie, Melody, Shelly, Dustin, Mary, Deborah Bronner, Faith, Jim, Sandy, Michael, and Angela, Coach Bob, Deborah Grady, my lovely wife, Matthew, Ezra, and the hostess with the mostest, Craig Jackman. Love and appreciate you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.